All right, here we go. Once you type all this stuff in here, you're going to notice it's a really wide table. We need to make that smaller so it'll fit on our sheet. So you highlight the words, you go up to Format, and you go to Text Wrapping. We're going to wrap it. Now, it won't automatically kind of scrunch. So you got to come up here in between J and K and grab the bar and start moving it on your own until you see that these things all kind of fit all pretty and nice. That way you can kind of tone down the width of it. So at some point you just don't want words kind of hanging out. This seems pretty good. So the mass on the string, I'm just making up stuff, 0.032. And this is where we need to turn it into a force. So it's mass times gravity, since gravity was accelerating it. And I'm going to, sorry about that, I'm going to come up here, turn on the math, equals. I'm going to come to that cell, and I'm going to times it by 9.8. Done. Distance, I don't know, I'm going to make something up, 0.65. Time trial 1, 1.65, 1.68, 1.61. I need to average all of those. Turn math on with the equal sign. Let's type average. First parenthesis, grab the 3 you want to average. 1, 2, 3. I just clicked them with my mouse and drug it over. And I hit enter. Acceleration. Let's turn math on. We're going to need a lot of parentheses. So I always err on the side of parentheses. Let's put 2 in there. It's going to be 2 times my distance, which is down here. Close up my parentheses. Whoops. It was not closing up my parentheses. Something happened there. All right, now I'm going to close up my parentheses. I'm going to divide that by t squared, and I'm going to put that in the parentheses. My t would be my average time. To square it, you use the caret key, which is above the 6, and we'll square it. I'm going to kill that parenthesis and the whole parenthesis and hit that. You're going to go through and put the rest of your numbers in there. You're going to notice all these decimals. These are going to be bad. We don't want those in there. So you want to highlight all these numbers once you have them filled in, and there's a little icon up here for making less decimals. If you're on your iPad, you go to Format Cell and you just click it down to less decimals. Up here, I put part 1, mass of car, and I took all these cells, so this wasn't always like that. Let me go back and redo that. So I just typed that into one cell, and then I highlighted the cells that I wanted to combine into one. It's called merge cells. And I just merged horizontally and put it in there. So you will continue on with 0.064. We're not going to do that formula again. You're just going to drag that down. This distance shouldn't change. You could drag that all the way down. Since you did 5, we could have dragged this one all the way down 5. And then once you put numbers in, it'll fill. This average could be dragged down 5. It will freak out because there's no numbers to divide. That one will freak out too. But once you put these numbers in, 1.32, 1.33, 1.39, it automatically fills. So you'll be set on that. All right, let's do part 2 table. We're going to copy. We're going to paste. And I'm going to change a couple of things here. This is going to be part 2 now. And the mass of the car, that wasn't constant. The force on the string, though, was the same. And that equaled, I believe it was 1 hook up here from 0.3136. 0.3136, and that was newtons. Down here, we don't care about the mass on the string. It was the same the whole time, or the force, excuse me. So this should be mass on car. Or mass of car. And this would probably be 1.00 kilograms because my car was 500 grams. And I put 500 grams on there, or whatever you did, you're going to have to add these up. 1.50. And notice how it doesn't like decimals over here all of a sudden, so you can always add some more. Whoops. And force on string was always the same of 0.3134. Be sure to change that, otherwise you're going to get some really big numbers there that we don't want. Distances are the same. All these numbers are going to change. Take those out, put in your new ones, whatever it might be, 0.95, 0.96, whatever you got. I'm just making stuff up. And it should autofill. Now, that's all done. Once you have that all done, I have so I opened the file from Blackboard and I have all of this stuff on here. You don't need the rubrics. Please don't put the rubrics on there. But you're going to need at least this part. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to go to a blank document, however you type up your stuff. And I'm going to put it in there. And I'm going to put my name, title, acceleration, force lab, objectives are already in there. Why did it do that? It's weird. Let's put some spacing in here. I don't know why it did that. It's kind of weird. With your procedure, it wouldn't be bad to maybe put a little numbered list in there. First thing, whoops, whoa, that was weird. Part 1, tell me what you did. We kept the mass of the system constant while increasing the force of, wow, am I struggling, system. And so on. Tell me what we did for part 1 and for part 2. Data, we just did that. I'm going to go back and grab my tables. Yours are going to be done, mine aren't. And I'm going to paste that in there. I don't know why I don't like to link it. And if you want borders in there, there is a border thing somewhere. If you want borders on these tables, you highlight the table. There's this little arrow up here, and you select that, and it should put them in there. Now I need my other table. Copy, paste, unlinked. And I put borders in there. I guess they're in there. I'm going to just show you how to do that again. And I can see them, so I guess they're there. And then don't we need a conclusion? If I look back at my sheet here, I do. And don't put the copy, paste. So part 1 conclusion. And you might just say, we were able to calculate the acceleration of the system as the force increased. 2, what did we find? We found as the force increased, the acceleration also increased. This makes for a directly proportional relationship. And spelling is important. There we go. When the force was 0.3124 newtons, my acceleration was 0.479. Please use your own numbers and not mine. Meters per second squared. Then when my force increased to 0.6272 newtons, my acceleration increased to 0.717 meters per second squared. And then source of errors, friction from the car and track added to errors that were not under our control. And then for part 2, you need to do the same thing, except it's not going to be a directly proportional relationship. It's going to be an inversely proportional relationship, because as the mass went up, the acceleration went down, and that's what you're going to put here. We were able to calculate as the, not the force increased, mass increased. We found as the mass of the system increased, the acceleration decreased. This produces an inversely proportional relationship. And then give me some numbers in there. And this video is getting pretty long, but just as I gave numbers here with units, you have to do that also down here to prove this statement that as the mass went up, the acceleration went down. And then give me some sources of error, which are probably exactly the same as part 1. Does that make sense? Woo woo? Woo woo. Bye-bye.